What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with 3 reviews today. So we don't have a lot of time because I charged my phone, but I've been watching every episode of every show this morning. But this is the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 2, episode 13, and the episode was titled Fair Weather Friends, you guys. Now, before we get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, then I'm gonna need you guys to do me a big, huge favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on, share the video, you guys. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Shall we, you guys? All right, you guys, so this episode opens up and we see the ladies, right? So they're back from their trip to Vail, right? So we see Lisa. Lisa is talking to John about the trip. We see Whitney. She's talking to, what is her husband? I forget what her husband's name is, right? But she's talking to her husband about the trip. We see Jenny. She's on the phone with Dewey, I believe. We see Heather talking to her daughter, Ashley. So everybody is just recapping the trip, right? So while while Lisa was talking to John and Heather was talking to Ashley, they both got text messages and phone calls from a new number that they didn't recognize, right? Heather immediately answered it. Me personally, I don't answer a phone number that I don't know the number. You will go to voicemail, and if you really want to talk to me, you will leave a voicemail or you will text me. And that's exactly what happened with Lisa. Lisa ignored it, and it was Jen just letting her know that, hey, I got a new phone number, and she didn't respond to it. And honestly, I don't blame her. Heather, however, answered the phone. Jen told Heather she would like to go out to lunch with her. So Heather's like, girl, you got it. Girl, no. Heather, we got to work on this relationship with you and Jen. It just doesn't ever look right. But we're going to pause here and we're going to move forward, you guys. Next up, you guys, we're going to discuss Jennifer Shaw, right? So we see Jen. So Jen has met Heather for lunch, right? So Jen is telling Heather that she has reached out to all the ladies, but the only person that responded to Jen's text message was Heather, right? So she says, I just need a friend right now. Babe, you got it. Heather, I think you're blindly being a friend to Jen, because I don't know if Jen would do the same for you if the roles were reversed. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't feel that Jen would do that, right? So then Jen was telling Heather about the story. You guys remember in the episode when she got arrested by the feds. You guys remember we saw that footage of the cops going to the house with those rifles drawn on those kids, right? As much as I don't care for Jen, seeing that scene once again, it's just jarring, it's triggering, right? This woman is accused of being of taking money from people. Why would you go to the house with guns drawn like that, right? Insensitive, overkill, right? Speaking of Jen, because Jen keeps talking about how she's innocent, right? And that the cops have no proof against her. Did you guys watch that documentary that's on Hulu that ABC and Hulu did about her? Very interesting documentary, right? I watched the full interview. I watched the full thing, right? It's really interesting when you listen to what Jen has done, allegedly done, right? And her co-conspirators, because a lot of it was people who want to work from home, right? Who want to do businesses right from home, and they're looking for things to help them with their business. And those people reach out to them, offer them these fake products that they're never going to get, just to keep scamming them every month. Terrible. But in that documentary, they got so much evidence against you, girl. They really followed Jen. And the aunt that was in that interview talking for Jen, baby, how much did she pay you? Because you was riding hard for Jen, all right? So then we see Jen. So Jen is talking to Heather about Stuart, right? Stuart was arrested. Stuart was there. She asked Stuart what was going on. She said, Stuart said, I'm sorry. I was like, I know goddamn well she is not going to sit here and make this man out to be the scapegoat, because that's exactly what it seemed like Jen was doing, making Stuart her scapegoat. I was like, girl, you full of shit. You are full of shit. So then Heather was telling Jen about Lisa calling her lawyers, her 6 lawyers, and saying that she wants to distance herself, right? Then she told her what Meredith said, but my thing is, Meredith Meredith, I understood. Lisa, not so much, right? So then the last scene of the episode with Jen is we saw her. She went and got some Popeye's chicken for Sharif, right? So she's talking to Sharif. She's telling Sharif that, she's reached out to all the ladies, but no one reached out to her with the exception of Heather. She really had these expectations. She expected for Lisa to reach out to her. I'm like, why do you expect for Lisa to reach out to you? Inquiring minds would love to know, right? So then she's telling him about this retainer that she got. It is $1.5 million. I was like, oh shit, that is a hefty retainer, right? Girl, I hope that man gets you off, or at least gets you a lighter sentence. Because after watching that documentary, you're gonna do some time. Because I just don't see any way out for you, girlfriend. You're doing some time. So then, she's up. It was in this scene that I realized, I'm like, Jen is selfish, because Jen kept talking about, oh my God, your family hasn't reached out to me. These people haven't reached out to me. No one's reached out to me, Sharif. Oh my God. I'm not going to be there for Omar and Reefy. I won't be able to see Omar graduate. Well, Jen, you should have thought about that before you started scamming people out of their money. Just going to be real with you. I ain't got no sympathy, no empathy, nothing for you, because especially... Now that one woman in that documentary, I felt bad for her, but I'm like, damn. Oh, you didn't have anything, and I get it. She wanted to start a business with them baby blankets, but you had no money, but you put it all on your credit cards. I was like, oh Jesus. And then that black woman. All that woman wanted to do in the panini was just create a second source of income for herself, and here these people go frauding her. Oh, I felt bad for that black one. I felt bad for both of them. It was that white woman at first when she said she didn't have nothing. Jen, there is a special place in hell for you. Just gonna put that out there. So then next we move over to Whitney, right? So Whitney is talking, her husband's name is Justin. So we see her, she's talking to Justin, right? Now you guys know Whitney's whole storyline is the fact that she has rebranded her Iris and Bow company and turning it into Wild Rose Beauty, right? So she's talking about the rebranding of her business. She's doing this photo shoot, which we're gonna talk about that photo shoot in just a minute, right? So up until this point, Whitney has used their savings for this. I'm like, girl, how much did y'all have in savings? Especially when she told us how much she spent on this photo shoot. And I'm like, girl, where did the money go to? Like, really? We'll get into it, right? So Whitney then tells Justin that she's applied for this line of credit and it's for $1 million, right? Now, if she's approved for the $1 million credit line, she's fine. But if not, she's gonna need for him to co-sign for $250,000. I was like, wow, $250,000. How much have you already put into this business? Whitney, there's a show on ABC that you could go to. It's called Shark Tank. I don't know if that would be a conflict of interest with you being on. Well, no, because yeah, it might be, because that's under NBC. Girl, go to Shark Tank, pitch your idea to the sharks, and ask them for the money that you need instead of, because from what it sounded like she's she's using her house as collateral. Just what it sounded like to me. So then we see Whitney as she's doing her photo shoot. I'm going to be honest with you guys, that photo shoot, Whitney, you spent $20,000 on that photo shoot? What did you spend $20,000 on? All I saw was a backdrop, the photographer, and you taking pictures. Jenny said it best. When you were doing the photos, you just saw people with, like a pottery and a doggy. Nothing with Wild Rose Beauty in it, right? So what kind of photo shoot was this, Whitney? And then even with the branding, it was Iris and Bo. And even in this episode, the shirt that you wore when you were with Justin, it said Iris and Bo. Whitney, I love you. I love you dearly. But we're kind of doing things a little bit backwards. We're just doing things just a tad bit backwards. Just saying. When you're rebranding, why are we not promoting the new brand instead of the old brand? You know what? Let's move on. So then, it's Jenny and Heather there, right? So they go outside and they have a conversation, right? So Jenny tells them about an event she wants to have, which we're going to discuss that in just a little bit, right? So they ask, are you going to invite Jen? She says, yes. So then Heather says, I met up with Jen and they were like, how is she? She says she's fine. And, she's adamant that she's innocent, which I don't know how she's adamant that she's innocent, but okay, girl, go on. So then Jenny says to Heather, well, do you believe that she's innocent? Heather says, well, I hope and pray she's innocent. Well, Heather, that's not really, that ain't saying much, love. That ain't saying much at all, right? Because that's just, you didn't say, oh yeah, I believe my friend, she's innocent until proven guilty. Which that is true, she's innocent until proven guilty. But with all the evidence that's stacked against Jennifer at this point, yeah, my love. If you would have asked me if I believe Jennifer is innocent, I'd be like, hell the fuck no. I think she's guilty of sin. And I believe that she, do I think that Jen's gonna get the maximum sentence? Because I do believe Jen's gonna get convicted. I really do. Honestly, especially after watching that documentary, I believe that Jen is going to be convicted. I don't think that Jen's gonna do the maximum sentence, but Jen's gonna get some prison time. Let's be real. So Whitney then talks to the group, right? So she tells them that she got, Cameron's number from Angie Harrington, which we ain't saw Angie since the first half of the season. But Angie, right? Now, if you guys watch the after show, that Mary was on the after show last week. And I will say, Mary looked nice in her after show interview for once. But Mary said that Lisa met Cameron through Angie Carrington. He met her through Angie. Angie was friends with Cameron. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So Whitney says that, she and Cameron, they were on the phone for 3 hours, and the things that he told her, if Lisa knew these things, then she knows that Mary is bigger and badder than what they thought she was, right? Whatever that means, I don't know. You guys know. I think Mary is good for the show. I think Mary is kooky in her own way, but I also think Mary is a terrible person. Period. I think Mary is a terrible person, and I'm just gonna continue to say that Mary is a terrible person. All right, you guys, let's move forward. So let's talk about Jenny real quick. So we're gonna breeze through Jenny's scene because Jenny's scene really wasn't very much. It was over. So we see Jenny and her daughter Carlin, and they're going to a pho place, right? So I guess, now that everybody's back in their normal lives and things are starting to settle down, it's just time just to get the group back together and just try to figure everything out and just kind of move forward. I don't know how that's going to work, right? So she's going to do that. She wants to introduce the ladies to her culture. The one thing I will say is I hope that the ladies are very receptive to her culture, like the Beverly Hills ladies were receptive to, what's her name? Crystal's culture. Unlike how the Real Housewives of Dallas were. The Real Housewives of Dallas, that rubbed me the wrong way, the way that they did Tiffany at dim sum. I was like, that is so tacky. Especially that damn Cameron Westcott. Whew. Thank God I don't have to look at her on TV no more right now. Because I think they're going to reboot Dallas. Speaking of reboots, this Thursday we will have Real Housewives of Miami. But let's go ahead and move forward to the next person. Let's talk about Mary. So we see Mary in that damn clusterfuck she calls a closet. I was like, girl, that closet is a mess. I mean, you got shit here. And then she got this wig on that looked like it came from the pits of hell that she needs to take off and throw back into the pits of hell, right? So Mary, the one thing that's bothering me with Mary is this sideburn. It is just really right here, and it is prominent. So she has this woman coming over to help her organize that shit. I'm like, girl, what you need to do is throw all of that crap away and start over, right? And then when I looked at her room, I'm like, God, that room is gaudy as fuck. Like, ooh. just because they make it in, just because, you know, it has a name brand on it, doesn't mean it looks good. Just putting that out there, right? So then we're going to wrap the episode up with Lisa. How did I wrap the episode up with Lisa, of all people? But I got a lot to say about Lisa, right? So we see Lisa and we see Meredith, right? So they are out horseback riding, and it was in Lisa's interview that I noticed she's hoarse. I'm like, wow, so when she gets hoarse, her voice gets deeper. When I get hoarse, it's interesting, like my voice is deep, and when I get hoarse, it goes up a whole ass octave. I always find it odd that me having a deep voice, when I get hoarse, sometimes it goes up to a higher pitch, and there are times where it gets a little bit more raspier, but most times it gets high. And I'm like, wow, that is interesting, right? So we see Lisa and Meredith, they're going to go horseback riding. Lisa talking about how she used to horseback ride in the day, right? I'm like, girl, you just love to lie, don't you? Because remember last season when they went drag racing, and she was talking about how good of a drag racer she was, and she was the slowest one. Well, same difference with this horse. This horse ain't, her and this horse, they ain't going nowhere, right? So they stopped, you know, doing the drag racing. So when they sit down, Lisa tells Meredith about Jen calling her, and she said that she didn't answer the phone. And then Lisa's talking about the fact that she didn't experience Jen the way that they experienced her last season. I'm like, what? You didn't experience the Tasmanian Devil. Well, you didn't experience the Tasmanian Devil, but you were in the vicinity of the Tasmanian Devil. So you knew how Jennifer was. So I don't get how you can sit there and say that with a straight face. Yes, you might not have experienced Jen, but you were in proximity when she did the things that she did to Heather and Whitney, Meredith, Mary, Jen. Lisa, go to hell. And then Lisa refuses to take any kind of accountability for any of the actions that she's done, right? And I love the fact that Meredith was like, you know, no, it's not just you, but you can't sit here and just place all the blame solely on Heather and Whitney, right? You have to take some accountability. She's like, no, I don't, because that is all on Heather and Whitney. It's Heather and Whitney. It's Heather and Whitney. No, love, it was you. It was all of you. Jenny was the only person that I can definitively say didn't participate in that. She may have asked questions, but she didn't go as hard as you guys did, right? She's talking about Heather and Whitney spearheaded it. No, it was you who spearheaded it. You did that, not them. Don't do that. But I love the fact that Meredith said, no, we all as a collective did it. You had a part in it, Whitney and Heather had a part in it, and so did I. Now, I won't accept that. It was 100% Heather and Whitney. Lisa, Andrew Cohen, please go hard. Please give her the hard-hitting questions at the reunion. That's all I want. I don't want you to go easy on, I don't want you to go easy on her. I don't want you to go easy on anybody. Because I know Mary shit is going to come up sometime this season. Because I think they said Mary had her issues during filming when her and her son, you know, I've talked about that before. I know they said Mary, we know Jen's shit hit the fan during filming. They said Mary's shit hit the fan during filming, but we'll see, right? And so go hard on everybody. Hold everybody accountable at this reunion. And Drew Cohen. That's all I want you to do is hold people accountable. But that is the review, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you guys are notified when I drop anything else. Share the video, you guys, and to the next one. Please stay safe out there. Remember to take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.